works day and night, makes 200 rupees a day, does puja for let's say 2 hours a day, and still striving hard to make both the ends meet. On the contrary, there is a bureaucrat, probably corrupt bureaucrat. He has all the money which you can imagine. He has best of the cars, doing best of the vacations, sending his kids to best of the colleges in the United States of America. First, why this disparity? And the second question, somewhat related. A 3-year-old girl, let's forget 3-year-old. These days, it's even a 1-year-old girl. She is there at her home. Suddenly, some wrong person rapes her, and unfortunately she dies. She didn't even get a chance to survive in this world. So in both these incidents, what we say is, a lot of people have questioned, is life really doing justice with all of us? The girl didn't have a fault, neither this guy, because he's properly doing pujas, he's working more than that bureaucrat. Still this miserable life. Why does this happen?
It's a very complex scenario. Why certain things happen in certain way? Unless we know the full story, we cannot answer. But definitely, for sure, it is not in the younger girls' naseeb, as we call it, or in the destiny that she had to succumb to such a heinous crime. Definitely not. Often we say maybe it's a destiny, it's an easier excuse. Not everything are based on the destiny. That is for sure. Many things are based on the free will of an individual. Whether free will of an individual as myself, or free will of an individual who has recently, just 5 minutes back, saw a porn movie and got so much excited and saw a little child.
Oh.
See the consequences of it.
Oh.
I have always blamed Reliance for making this digital platform so cheaply available to all and sundry. I have brought it up to Amit Shah also, that do something about this. Spanish people coming here, traveling in Jharkhand. Man held hostage with a gun and wife being raped in front of him by half a dozen idiots. They should be hanged actually. But will that heal the woman who was raped and the husband who had to see this trauma? Number one thing is, what is causing all these eruptions at a sensual level? Everybody is hungry for sex today. Even one 80-year-old woman wrote to me, I'm starving without sex. What is feeding all these things? Media. Because the visual graphics are so strong, you can hardly escape the impact of it on your psyche, on your emotional well-being. If we can prevent this, then the world will be better off. See, in our ashram here, we have almost 4,000, 5,000 laborers working on a daily basis since 2017. Laborers carry the bricks on their head. One carrying here, another is there, third is there, and one fellow watching TV on his mobile or some movies, and half a dozen of them watching together, holding bricks on their head. Do you think they are watching Ramayana or Mahabharata in heat of the sun? They're constantly on such excitements, fueling their excitements. And you can see even a young girl passing, every one of them looking as if hungry dogs are waiting for such a meal. Imagine if there were no other individuals, would that girl would have been safer there? So, digital media has to be protected, it should be controlled and regulated. No such measures are being made today in India, especially. Imagine if in the state government's assembly, MLAs are watching porn in Karnataka. You must have heard that.
Yes, yes.
What to talk of these laborers?
So in this case, at least we can blame the media. But Daji, what about the laborer versus the corrupt bureaucrat?
You cannot compare two apples. And I would not say that the prayer is insurance against your poverty. It's not.
Okay.
Moment you pray for something or the other, you have lost the credibility in front of the eyes of the Lord. What is the difference between a beggar and a lover of God? Suppose your friend is there who keeps coming to you and say, यार मेरे को 2000 रुपया दे दे, I'll return to you in 10 days. It comes back and I still need 5,000. Third time he comes, what will happen to you?
Get irritated also.
Get irritated. What happens to God? Everyone is asking for something
Yes.
repeatedly, again and again, again and I want that girl, I want that boy. I want this much money, I want this house, I want this car. Want. God has already run away, perhaps.
But how do we love God then?
It's not possible to love God. Begin with yourself. God is an unknown entity. How are you going to love someone whom you don't even know and about whom you don't even have the surety whether he exists or not?
Okay.
Isn't it?
True.
And we have been indoctrinated. All have been conditioned that if you do this puja, then God will favor you with things you need in life. And if you don't do this, God may not favor you. He might punish you perhaps. Do you think God is bribable like these officers?
It doesn't seem like.
You bribe him with 5 rupees and expect 5 crores. And I break a coconut and say I want such and such a job, or I want to pass my exams. You cannot bribe. You can only fool yourself. If you are not prepared, no God can help you. And if you are really prepared, you don't need God. Because the free will has been given to you, and the enjoyer of the free will is God Himself in your heart. You tell me one thing. Are you alive today?
Yes.
Yes. What makes you say so?
Because I can breathe.
You can feel, right?
Yeah, feel. Correct.
What if the soul leaves at this very moment tonight and say, okay, I'm living?
I hope that doesn't happen, but I'll be dead.
You'll be dead.
Yeah.
And that entity, whether you call Ishwar or God or Atman, it really doesn't matter what we call this entity. But that entity is there since my birth and will remain till I breathe my last. Is it outside myself?
It's inside.
It's inside me. Your life force is in you. My life force is in me. And so is it with everybody else. So I'll share a story, a scenario where mother is delivering a child. Mother is screaming away with pain. Child is now arriving. But mother, soon as she hears the cry of a baby, she begins to smile. Right? It is for the first time and last time that mothers they cry
Mm-hmm.
when hearing the child's first cry. Afterward, whenever the baby cries, mother cries. It's the first time she smiles because
Wow.
the entity that should come giving life has come along. Suppose the baby doesn't cry. Then the doctors run around frantically trying to resuscitate, stimulate the lungs and the heart so that baby begins to cry. And still baby doesn't cry, then mother has to cry because the life force has not come. And that's within me, that's within you. And our shastras, our scriptures, they say this Atman is part of Paramatman. He is Antaryamin, one who dwells within. Hridayam, one who dwells within. Antaryamin. Such names are given to this entity. Had it been otherwise, they would have given the name Bahiryamin, one who dwells outside. Then it becomes your duty to search for him outside. But he's within you. And where are we searching for this godliness? We are always seeking outside us. In some corner of the house where you have made something holier.
You mean everything is inside us?
It's a good thing in one way and a very dangerous thing in another way, because you begin to think it's outside. And when you keep God away from your workings, your lifestyle, when you refuse that God to be the witness of your life, then you think you are free to do anything. Right? So your karma are taken for granted, that I can do whatsoever I want. Right? And karmas are inexorable. Kabhi na kabhi, at some point in your life, it will manifest. If not today, tomorrow. If not tomorrow, next life. There is no plus and minus gain like accounts with karma, that I did 100 good karmas in order to deduct 100 negative karmas. It doesn't work like that.
But Daji, I have a question around karma itself over here. Let's say if I'm going on a street in my car, I find someone begging. At that point of time, I feel that, okay, this is a person who is in need of money. I offer him 100 rupees note. Later on, I get to know that this person, instead of using it to eat food,
water bottle.
Yeah, got the bottle. Now, did I do correct over here? Did I do wrong? What sort of karma I am taking? Because ultimately he consumed alcohol.
Well, it's emotional response from your side. You thought he's begging for his sustenance, but his sustenance is a drink. See, you have fulfilled it, but at the same time, you have wronged him also. One has to know whom to give the deserving patra. Unless you are acquainted with such a person for some time enough and knowing that this person is right, then you should do it. One should not become very impulsive, because face can cheat you very well. Beautiful face, ugly face, you feel attracted, you get repelled, but the reality can be something else.
Right.
See, when you talk of karmas, sometimes my karma may not be the one that gives me punishment or the betterment.
Okay.
The good life that I'm enjoying may not be because of my karmas, or the worst thing I'm undergoing may not be also because of my karmas. It could be altogether because of somebody else altogether. Have you listened the life of Rama and Mother Sita, right?
Yeah.
They were both avatar purushas. That means they did not have the previous baggage of karma. Then how in the world they suffered so much? Because Kaikeyi influenced. So somebody else's intentions can also change your destiny.
Oh.
On top of that, if you see both Ramayana and Mahabharata, both were created because of the ego of two individuals. One was Raja Dashrath and another was Bhishma. Their ego were so blatant. प्राण जाए पर वचन नहीं जाए. I have promised her, so how can I deny? He could have simply said, you are not asking the right thing. And could have avoided whole Ramayana.
Maybe the reputation was so high being a king. So
That's the ego part, no? I should be able to take a bite and say, with all humility, I'm sorry, I don't allow it. Similarly with Bhishma, if he had taken the side of the right person, but he said, no, I took an oath. मैंने वचन दिया था कि हस्तिनापुर की रक्षा करूंगा. That's how he destroyed it. In the process of protecting, he destroyed it. Why? हमने वचन दिया है. So not everything happens because of individuals' karmas. It can happen because of somebody's stand also.